Everyone, and welcome back to the fourth battle report in our ongoing Wars of the Roses mini campaign with myself and Robin. We're back, and it's been a little while since the last one. If you remember, in the last battle we were fighting in the town of Cambridge. We had a city fight game, but in that game the forces of the Duke of Suffolk captured the Lord Montague, John Neville, and John Neville's forces captured the Earl of Essex. Well, things have escalated slightly, and we decided that it's the perfect opportunity to run a siege. And you can probably see the castle over here in the background, which I'll come on to in a minute. So we are basically now playing a mini campaign within our mini campaign, which I'll come on to in a second. But we're back, so it's been a little while. I'll explain the scenario, what we're doing, and how this is going to feed into the next few games. Okay, so I have finished building the castle. Now, for the sake of argument, this is Wingfield Castle. This is the home of the Duke of Suffolk and his descendants. Wingfield Castle does not really look like this, apart from the fact it has a moat. That's about it. And it's relatively flat around there. But for our purposes, that is Wingfield Castle. This is the tabletop workshop castle set, and these are all the additions that I've made to it. As you can see, we have a moat, and inside the castle we have multiple buildings, towers and battlements for Robin's men to occupy. Over here we have a nice open flat area outside the castle, a bit of a killing ground, which I'm sure will come in handy in the coming games. Okay, so the way that this is going to work, we have been looking at the Siege and Conquest book from Warhammer Historical. This came out in 2007, and it is a fantastic book with loads of really good scenarios in it to make playing a siege nice and varied. So what we have put together is a structure for a campaign. So instead of you guys having to strain to read this, I'll throw this up on the screen. Now, the first mission we're going to play is the Messenger, and basically Robin's forces are going to be trying to get word out to get a relief force over here as John Neville's forces encircle the castle. Depending on whether or not he wins or loses will dictate which scenario we play next, and then so on and so forth. This means that along this tree it is possible for the castle to be taken in as little as 2 games, or if he holds out for long enough it could actually take 5 games. Now, these games probably won't be as long in length as a normal battle. They are sort of got mini objectives in them, but should give a much better feel of an ongoing siege. As the games go on, the landscape around the castle will change in that siege defences will be put up, the besiegers will have earthworks put up, and this table will be set up in basically the same way. The roads, the castle, the fields will probably still be in the same places, but these trees may get chopped down, the house might end up getting burnt out, maybe one of the attacking generals is gonna live in there, although to be fair he's probably within cannon distance of that tower. So that's how we're going to run it. Now, this first scenario we're going to play is called the Messenger. So for this game, there's a good chance that the defenders would be aware of the enemy approaching long before the whole column of troops and carts actually arrives and they start encircling the castle. So one of the first actions that the castle would do would be to send out messengers to try and call allies and call for support. So the Duke of Suffolk is going to dispatch 2 messengers along with escorts to try and get them off the board, or off to London or off to Colchester, to try and just call for support. So the scenario is an encounter between 2 messengers and the escort who have been dispatched by the besieged side, and the vanguard of the besieging force who are determined to intercept them. The messenger's objective is to cross the table, and they need to leave it by either this table edge here, this road, or this table edge over here. If a messenger manages to do this, they're assumed to have gotten away to summon reinforcements that will come into play later in our mini campaign. My objective as the besieger is to prevent the messengers escaping the table and brutally kill them, or chase everybody back into the castle. The armies are set up pretty much along the same lines as our previous games. We are using the little force point system that we've come up with, which should be on the screen now, just to pick our forces, and we're still using 9 force force points apiece, which is what we've used in all other games. However, I do not have access to John Neville because he's in that castle somewhere, and Robin doesn't have access to Essex because he's with the besieging forces, and we might have to have a bit of a chat about what's going to happen to him. What has changed slightly is how Robin can deploy his forces. Now, in this scenario, the majority of his forces are going to be in the castle. He can take up to half of his army out. The Duke of Suffolk isn't going to allow more than half of his men out. He still wants men in there to protect him and keep an eye on John Neville. So Robin can deploy up to half his army within 6 inches of the castle at the start of the game, and he will be getting the first turn. My forces are going to be moving on along this short board edge over here in 3 separate waves. I've got 3 units in 3 waves. So wave 1 turns up on turn 1, wave 2 turns up on turn 3, and wave 3 turns up on turn 5. There won't be anything other than a roll just to see if they come on normal orders. We're not going to roll to see if they, they turn up and then order them on. They'll just move on, and we'll see how things go. Over here, Robin can man the walls. Now, the towers can be occupied by a single standard unit. We'll just be popping 1 base up the top to represent that. Each section of wall can contain 1 small unit, or rather that's 2 bases of troops. So he can divide his units down a little bit from what he had before. All of the ranges remain the same. All of the results for disorder and all of that remain the same. And all of the modifiers for shooting at people in the castle remain the same. Only in this scenario, I haven't got my my siege line set up yet, so there's probably not going to be very much besieging of the castle going on. But Robin's got a very nice anchor to his line over there that he'll be able to use, hopefully. Leading the Duke of Suffolk's forces is the Duke of Suffolk himself, John de la Pole, 2nd Duke of Suffolk. He has a strategy rating of 8, a combat bonus of +2, and as before, he is a loyal Yorkist, which basically means he gets to give one of his units the elite 5+ rule. Now, he is the only ranking commander in that castle, so Robin's got 9 units and 1 guy to command them, so some things could go slightly wrong. I'll come on to how the messengers are going to work in a second. In the besieging army, we don't have John Neville. Everything's been handled by his cousin, the Bastard of Falkenberg. Now, his rules are the same as last time. He has a strategy rating of 8, a combat bonus of +2, and he brings with him the Calais veterans that he's brought over the channel, and hopefully are going to do something a bit better this time, because they've obviously been besieging castles and fighting the French, so hopefully they're going to be a little bit more up to the challenge. Now, along with them, they've brought along one of Warwick's most loyal minions, and that is Sir John Conyers. Now, John Conyers, we've decided, has a strategy rating of 8 to reflect his long years of experience. He has a combat bonus of only +2 because he's getting on in his years, and he can mark one of his units as elite. In addition, he gets to, if he's ever caught out in combat, because he's quite old and quite venerable, he gets to re-roll the first result on the wounded commander table, but hopefully he won't be getting that close, so it won't matter. Okay, so for the messengers, we have these 2 bases of light cavalry. Now, these move independently. They are not affected by the modifiers for command range, and they move at the end of Robin's orders phase. They will always have at least 1 successful order, so they'll always be moving at least 12 inches. They cannot move within 9 inches of an enemy unit unless that unit is in combat or shaken. Robin can attempt to move them further by executing a normal order roll. So basically, these guys will always be moving at least once. So Robin's got to try and get them off the board as Essex sends his men out. Other than that, it's going to be a 6-turn game. If the messengers haven't gone off in 6 turns, then the rest of the besieging army has encircled the castle and he can't get out. If the besiegers win this scenario, then the next scenario we're going to play is rapid assault, and we're going to get into laying ladders and stuff up against the walls very quickly. If Robin wins this scenario, then the next one we're going to be playing is called sortie, where he's going to be coming out and trying to take out objectives in the besieging camp. So we're very excited. We might have to adjust things as we go because neither of us have done this before. We're just very excited. In fact, we've got a castle up there, and there is the Suffolk coat of arms flying above it. Hopefully that will be replaced with the bear and ragged staff soon. Anyway, what we'll do, we'll get down to deployment. We'll get the army set up, and then we'll go into turn 1. Okay, so Robin has deployed the Duke of Suffolk's forces. As you can see, they are ranging out of the castle. Robin, why don't you talk us through what you've done? Because you've had to deploy your units slightly differently to how we would normally, haven't you?
Yeah, so units that are coming out of the castle are basically normally a small unit of bowmen, kind of ranging pickets, a unit of bill and bow to protect the messengers as they come out the castle, and a couple more of Essex's, or would have been Essex's units, who potentially can range forward to come out the castle well. And then Suffolk's troops that will be staying in the castle, broken down slightly differently. So they formed kind of a unit of bill, which is effectively the command stands from the other units, and then the bowmen up on the walls with a unit of handgunners as well, split down into small units so they fit 2 bases in each section.
So 2 units per section. And then for the sake of this, a bit like how we did in our previous game, if you've watched that, each of these wall sections is 1 zone. So if this unit of archers if this unit here wanted to move over here, it would be 2 moves, 1 into the tower or through the tower and then 1 onto this wall. You can move freely across zones as long as your target zone is unoccupied. So for example, if this unit here wanted to move to that wall over there, it wouldn't be able to do it because it needs 3 clear moves. It'd have to come down out the tower and then enter over there. So he's got 1 section of wall over here where he hasn't got any troops, and then he's got his handgunners just there. We forgot to mention that for the sake of command, while the Duke of Suffolk is in the castle, we are measuring the command ranges from the castle. As Robin we were just talking about, there'd be flags and shouting and waving. So we'll be measuring that. So once they move beyond that, then that command range will come into effect. If the Duke leaves the castle for any reason, then the normal rules will apply. So your escorts and the messengers are, so you've got the ranging unit at the front of the small unit of archers.
Yeah.
Standard unit of bill and bow.
Then the messengers.
Yeah.
And then there's another unit of bill and bow. They'll form up a column as they come out, and then Baron Burners
is going to go out and have a go.
Because obviously
well, he's
loyal to Essex.
Didn't he capture? He did the capturing last. He was captured Montague, didn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, so there we are. That is the starting positions for the siege. And I've. Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes, we forgot to mention up here. We thought it'd be rude not to. So there is a cannon up there.
If it blows up.
If it blows up, then that's a good case. We'll cross that bridge from. Oh, that's a very good question. That tower could be rendered unusable. That would be fantastic. Basically, we know, and just so the viewers know, the range of that cannon is effectively that crossroad. It's a 36-inch range of cannon, and it's a fair bet that they would know basically what their range would be. So, if once I get past this. Building here, that's when I'm gonna probably encounter some issues. So there we go. My troops do not start on the board, but I have split them into waves, and my first wave consists of light cavalry and 2 bill and bow units, with the Bastard of Falkenberg coming on. Then I've got basically lots of bill and bow, actually I think it's all bill and bow. I think it's all bill and bow that are coming onto the battlefield. So we'll stop rabbiting on. We'll get on with Suffolk turn 1. Okay, so that's probably the quickest turn we've had in any of the battle reports. Robin, why don't you just sort of go over it? Obviously, I've got no troops on the board, so there's going to be no shooting or anything, but Robin can give you an idea of what's actually gone on.
Taking advantage of the fact that the troops haven't come over the hill yet, Essex's forces, under Suffolk, have just moved out the castle to protect the messengers. However, one of the messengers is decided to do the right thing and stayed with the escort. The other one, seeing an empty road, has just absolutely bolted.
He's gone for it.
I'm just hoping he's not a traitor,
Yeah.
And hasn't just gone to...
He's gone to tell him. Just gone to tell him.
Just gone to join the other side.
That's it.
But, yeah, so he's off. He's off. Looks like he's heading towards King's Lynn.
King's Lynn is this way, and we're going to say Colchester is that way there.
Yeah. So, just moved out of the castle. Bit of a traffic jam, obviously, so Berners is still in the castle, and no targets yet for any of the...
No.
I'm not expecting to shoot much from the castle, because I don't want you getting that close.
No, if I get
It's
that
more
close,
of a-
stuff might have gone wrong a bit.
Yeah, it's more of a just, don't come over here. We have men, there's just no men behind them that you can't see.
That's it. Now, obviously, as we say, we're kind of doing things as we go along a little bit here, but we didn't actually come up with any stats for the messengers. So we've just decided that they are a stamina 2 unit. They can suffer shaken and disordered as a normal unit, but they must always take the evade action if they can, if they are charged. That's it. They don't do any kind of attacking or anything like that. And if they're charged, they take evade. If they can't take evade and they're caught, that's it. They've been dragged off their horses and brutally killed, and all the messages have been burned or sent back over the walls with a smiley face on jeering. So there we go. So there we go. Very, very, very fast turn from Robin. Now we're going to see if my wave 1 can come on and basically stop those messengers before they get off the board, because they could feasibly get off next turn, I guess. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so actually a pretty successful turn here for the Neville forces. So the Bastard of Falkenberg has chosen to come on just here with his wave 1, and first of all, the light cavalry managed to execute 3 moves down to the hedge and into the lane. So they're tramping up down here, and they've just spotted those pickets there. So now that they are within that 9 inches, they can't move towards them. They could only withdraw and go away. Now it would be incredibly gamey of me to just leave that unit there, so I won't be doing that. That's not in the spirit of chasing down Robin's people and killing them. And then, completely out of the blue, I got another 3 orders off on the next unit, who managed to march all the way through the field and get all the way down to the hedge. So we have a unit of Bill and Bow led by Sir John Constable, who will be loosing a barrage of arrows at those messengers. So those messengers tried to get an early lead and tried to get off the table, and they've just been caught. What that has meant is I've had to commit forces to this side of the table, and obviously Robin can still get off there. He doesn't have to follow the road. It was just nice and convenient for a way for him to go. So there we are. We'll go into the Neville shooting, which is simply going to be these guys here. So they get 3 dice, and they are going to be just hitting on 4s. To reroll 1, which is good. You need a single save of 6. No, so 1 casualty on the unit already, so they've only got 1 casualty left, but they're going to be, I have a feeling they're going to be moving quite quickly next turn anyway. So that is the end of turn 1 for me. I imagine the first couple of turns here are going to go fairly quickly. We'll go into Suffolk turn 2 and see where what the messengers are going to do. Okay, so not the greatest turn for Suffolk after the sort of gains that he'd made in turn 1. Robin, what happened?
So, small archers and Bill moved up. I kind of wanted to form a line across here, maybe give my messengers a bit of a screen, but I think they're put off by the large amount of cavalry they can see across the wall. And decided that... That's it.
We were just saying that this party have been off scouting through and probably pillaging Suffolk's lands, and they've just been, just come up the road and happened to see their target.
My troops are conscious they're staying within the fall of their own cannon shot.
Yeah.
If they go forward too far, they're at risk themselves.
As soon as I come past that house, I'm going to be sort of within cannon range. I'm not too, don't want to again be too gamey. I mean, it's not going to be the end of the world, but if I take 1 hit, I have to take a break test. off of that, so it could cause some problems.
Messengers,
but messengers are here, yeah.
Decided that route is blocked for the moment, at least. So, having fallen for his feint, he's now going to come this way, and the other messengers moved up to the middle, kind of.
Yeah, just to see
as
what's
options. He's
going
going to wait
on.
and see.
Unfortunately, Fitzwalter and his unit here didn't get to move,
Yeah,
did they? So
I sympathise. You know, the castle's quite safe, has food, etc. Why go out? Why go outside?
Why go out? Why go out? Now remember as well, this is the thing, is trying to think of this in terms of the campaign play. There is still an ongoing thing. So if Robin does lose this one, it just rolls into another game. And if I lose, then it goes into a different game. So I don't think there's actually any shooting because your men are in a march column.
Yeah.
Your cannon's not in range. So that is the end of the second Suffolk turn. So we'll go into the Neville turn. I need to bring in some troops over there to try and cut off the escape. And then what I'll be doing is forcing Robin to try and push some of my men back. So we'll see where we go. Okay, so Neville turn 2 was pretty successful. I wanted my light cavalry to execute quite a few manoeuvres and then charge into this unit here. All they managed to do was cross the wall, but that's going to be quite handy because Robin's going to have to deal with those really at some point. Over here I decided to leave this unit at the crossroads because they're in a good position to deal with anything that comes their way, and awesomely I got another 3 orders off with this unit over here, and they've marched down to that hedge. So I'm kind of harrying the messengers as they go along. They've noticed these troops that are leaving and noticed they're wearing the livery of Suffolk, and they've worked out what they'll be doing. We've decided just for, as I said, you know, we've got to sometimes just, you know, you've got to adapt as you go, that both the units of messengers will count as skirmishers, so they never present a clear target. So I'm always going to be -1 to hit them. You know, you're trying to hit a horse that's going at 25 miles an hour, as Robin has just said, and it's not going to be easy. There's not a big mass of them. So we'll go straight into the Neville shooting. We'll start with this unit, and they are going to fire at these guys here. Right, can you just see if they're within half range? Within 12? No, so I'm going to be firing at them. I'm going to be -1 to hit them. So I've got 3 dice hitting on 5s. Okay, I'm looking for 5s. Reroll 1. That's 3 hits, and you've got to take a break test. You're -2 to your save because you are in a column, so you're just looking for straight up 6s. It's 1 save, 2 casualties, and you need to take a break test for the 6. 8, I believe that you're staying. Yeah, hold your ground without penalty. So they've just taken 2 casualties. A small unit has a stamina of 4, so they're halfway there. Okay, so next I'm going to fire with my unit over here. These guys are -1 because of the long range, and they don't present a clear target, so I am hitting on 6s. Looking for 6s, and I get to reroll 1. Oh, there's 1 6. So you need 1 save of 6.
To save the messenger.
Oh no, so they are now shaken, but you also have to take a break test because of the 6. So they're absolutely fine other than the fact that they're shaken. That unit is now shaken. Messengers have the brave rule, so they are going to be able to rally in their next step on a 4, 5 or 6, so they'll be able to get rid of a casualty as long as they're 12 inches or more from the enemy. That is the end of Neville turn 2. We're now into Suffolk turn 3. Robin really needs to get some of his forces moving and get some of that other stuff out the castle, because next turn I've got a fresh wave of 3 more units that are coming on to the field as the siege lines slowly start to envelop around Wingfield Castle. Okay, so nothing went to plan, but then everything went to plan, I think is the way. So go on then, Robin, what happened?
Very simply, first, they just formed a line, ready to see off the cavalry. They advanced forward reluctantly off the drawbridge because they're worried about it being
You're worried about that, the gate being
Suffolk
closed.
might be like, right, well, my troops are still in there. These are all Essex's men. Let's raise the drawbridge. But then that unit of Bill and Bow blundered.
Yeah.
But they blundered in the best way possible
towards the enemy
and
got basically into range,
a fighting position,
which is bad for me because I'm in a column. So they basically just got uncontrolled. Was it uncontrolled charge?
Yeah.
But if you didn't make it, they still had to form a line, and then they got into the position they needed to be in, which is worse for me. Over here, your messengers.
He didn't rally, but he's now carrying some news back to the castle, just in case they hadn't seen.
Back to this up here.
He's letting the cannon know that there is cavalry out there, and then this messenger just moved towards the.
He's just moved towards that way.
Being wary of the troops he's seen coming.
That's it. So he's still within range of those troops, but there we go. So as you can see, obviously it's not. It's just it's some light skirmishing going on. But so there's light skirmishing going on outside the castle. The messengers are trying to find a way to pick their way through. Remember, the thing is, it will go to 6 turns because he might be able to just break through. So even if I get my models on the board,
there's something to be said for pulling these guys back and keeping them alive.
Yeah.
And then they're kind of milling around until maybe 10 or 4 or 5 and
that's it. Remember,
killed something.
And that's the victory condition. This isn't done on points. It's just however the game resolves. If I haven't got if he has got his messengers off the board, that dictates what scenario we're going to play next. And if he doesn't, then that dictates the other ones. So all part of the campaign in the siege of Wingfield Castle. So let's go to the Suffolk shooting. Which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with the Bill and Bow.
These guys, are they within 6 inches? I imagine that they are. This is going to be really bad.
Yeah.
They are. So you're going to get 3 dice. You are +1 because of the range. So you're going to be hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1. That's 3 hits. I have a save of 6. Now, it's usually -2 because you're in the column, but you're always saving on 6s. So 6s. Oh dear, no, that's 3 casualties. Fortunately, he didn't get a 6 in there to disorder me. However, can you just check what the stamina value is of a whole unit? I imagine it's 6, but yep, as it's a large unit, it's 6. So they're halfway towards that. So that's not great. What do you want to do with these guys? They can't really see this unit,
they'll
so
have to shoot down the guys behind cover.
Okay, so they are a small unit, so they're going to get 2 dice, and they're not a clear target because they're behind the hedge. So you're hitting on 5s and re-rolling 1. There's the 1 hit. I'm behind the hedge, so I get +1, so I'm saving on a 4. Save that.
One. Okay, well, I have a cannon.
You do have a cannon.
And I have ample supply of cannonballs, which I bet was fun to lug up the stairs. So
yeah. So just for the sake, so 36-inch range. We know that unit is in there, but do you want to measure it out anyway? Yeah. Okay. So you're gonna have a crack. So it's over half range. So it's it's -1. You're shooting over the heads of your own troops because we're using it a bit like Black Panther. So you're basically hitting on a 6. No. Okay.
That was always gonna happen.
Okay. So I need a single save of 6. Which I saved, but I have to take a break test because I've taken a hit from a black powder weapon. 8 is hold your ground, I think. Okay, so the cavalry survived that cannonball. That's the first time I think we've ever actually had a cannon hit as well. So I feel a bit bad having saved it.
It's either going to hit or blow up, isn't it?
Well, that's it. Now you mention that, I really do want that to blow up and take that tower out. That would be fantastic. There we go. That's the end of Suffolk turn 3. We're down to Neville turn 3, and wave 2 arrives. Right, okay, so It's an interesting turn from the Nevilles. So the first thing I opted to do was I brought on the second wave, which was under Sir John Conyers, who you can see there behind the unit. He ordered on William Parr, who took a position just in front of him, and then he blundered with his second roll, and the unit didn't even enter. We have James Harrington just on the edge there. The Bastard of Falkenberg, however, he did manage to get some stuff going. In fact, he managed to move all of his units. Over here, this unit has moved down and taken position behind the hedge to keep on harassing those messengers. This unit have hopped over the hedge. I did want them to do a little bit more, so they basically just exited cover. And over here, my cavalry formed up and charged. However, Robin got an amazing roll on his closing shots, put 3 casualties on me, and has shaken me. And as a result, as I've been shaken by ranged fire, even though it's part of a close attack, I need to take a break test, and also the charge has failed. Let's see what happens. 5 for cavalry on a ranged attack. What is that, Robin?
Retreat disordered.
Retreat disordered. Okay, that's spell. I think they're going to be basically just going back to the road. Okay, so that unit has retreated disordered, and they're shaken and moved back over the wall. So they're not in a good place right now. So anytime they take a casualty now in shooting, because that's in excess of their stamina, they're going to be taking break tests with modifiers, -1 for each one. Okay, so that wasn't great, but that's fine. I can live with that. We'll just go into the Neville shooting. So we use John Constable here. He basically has to fire at this unit now because they're nearer. They're not within 6 inches. Are they within 12 inches? From the centre of my unit? Yeah. Yes. Okay, so I get 3 dice. These walls don't really count for cover, then no one's using it. So I'm hitting on 4s. Rerolling 1. That's a 6. So 2 hits and a break test. 2 saves of 5.
1 casualty.
And then a straight up break test. 7, I think, is hold your ground.
Hold your ground without penalty.
Okay, and there's a casualty wearing Neville livery. Over on this side, this unit are just going to launch a volley at those messengers. They're -1 to hit because are they over 12? No, so they're -1 to hit just because you then don't present a clear target. So 5s, rerolling 1. Oh, and a break test. So 2 hits, so 2 saves of 6. No, it's 2 casualties, so they're shaken as well, and a break test. 8, they're fine. They're fine, but they are shaken. So both units of skirmishers are shaken, but instead they've got a bravery, also just got to pull themselves together and try and do something. So there we go. That is the end of Neville turn 3. We'll go over into Suffolk turn 4. Okay, so Suffolk has made a big push. Robin, where do you want to start?
So, basic stuff. So, Fitzwalter just move forward, start forming a line over here, give the messengers a bit of cover while they regroup.
They managed to get. They managed to
rally. So there will be maybe someone brought out a fresh horse or something.
Someone shouted from the walls, "The next cannon's coming for you!" Unless you get over there.
Yeah, the other messenger just came over here out of the way, but he's still shaken, so he can't make a break for it.
No, he can't move towards the enemy, but he can shift around behind. But he didn't manage to rally, did he?
Burners, seeing space, has moved forward along with a unit of just billmen of Suffolk's bill.
Yeah, who have come out. This is interesting. This is probably the first time we've really used just billmen, and that's because the archers are manning the walls.
Yeah.
So this is the first time we've got just units of billmen, which are, we do have stat blocks for. It's just we normally don't use them because it's more handy to have them as bill and bow. Remember, if you do want copies of the rules, then that we're using, the modifications, then the link is down below in the description. What happened over here? Because this all went wrong for me.
So over here, small unit just move forward a little bit. They are kind of a throwaway, or they won't be killed. They'll kind of melt off into the woods and stuff. They're like local forestmen and that, probably working on the deer park. And then the unit of Bill and Bow over there has charged my light. That your guys look like they don't know what they're doing at the moment.
That's it.
So
my guys are disordered, so I can do it.
No.
That's it, and I don't get the bonus because I'm cavalry. I don't get the bonus of that cover. So I am disordered, and I've been charged. I'm shaken. It's not looking good for that unit of cavalry. Now that means if Robin opens this up, there's another avenue of escape for one of the messengers. And as my troops aren't moving that fast, definitely need to sort out what's going on. So where do you want to start with your shooting?
Let's start over here because I think they're within range.
Yep. So we've got 18-inch range. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, not a clear target, so you're going to get 3 dice hitting on 5s. That's it, long range, so it's actually hitting on 6s, re-rolling 1. I've just remembered as well that that doesn't count as a break test, because when you need a 6, you need 2 6s to force that. So if having realised that already, sorry guys, we will remember that from now on. I need a save of 4 because I get the cover. Nope, so 1 casualty on that unit. Okay, where would you want to go next?
Small unit. Is they within 6 inches? Well,
they're within 6, so it's 2 dice hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1. Oh, that's 2 hits. I need 2 saves of 5. Not casualty on them.
Oh, the cannon must be in range.
Oh, is the cannon? Okay, so the cannon is in range, but Robin forgot to roll for his reload, but he didn't fail any orders, meaning that Suffolk still could have rolled. So the reload is just an 8 or less. Yep, so it's reloaded with spectacular speed, and they can shoot. Now you're at long range, so that's -1. I'm not a clear target, so it's going to be a 6. So go for it. Oh, that was so close. That was so close. We need to make a rule in here for something like Master Gunner or something that gives people a reroll. So there we go. It's got a reload token. Any other shooting?
That's all the shooting. It's just me wiping out your.
It's just hand-to-hand combat, right? Well, let's work out the dice and then we'll crack on. Right, okay, so Robin's men charge. They're getting 6 dice and they're going to be hitting on 3s, +1 for charging. I actually have 7 dice because my clash is high, but I'm hitting on 5s because I'm disordered. After this round of combat, if I survive, then my combat value goes down to 5. Most of the units that we're using have the same clash and sustain values, but light cavalry certainly don't. So Robin, 6 dice hitting on 3s.
3.
3 hits. I have 7 dice hitting on 5s. 2 hits. I need 3 saves of 6. 1. So I've taken 2 casualties. You need 2 saves of 5. 1. So you can 1 casualty. I've lost to combat by 1. So my men are 2d6 -1. 4. They're gone. I already know that they're gone. They're already gone. And there's the alarm for the pizza. So that's very, very apt. Okay, so Robin has decided to just hold his ground there. My men broke because they were already shaken. But that is actually the end of Suffolk turn 4. So we go into the Neville turn 4. I haven't got another wave arriving this turn, but I have got a few units on the board because I'm getting a bit concerned that I'm now sort of losing this flank over here, but all of my men are over there, so I'm gonna have to try and push around. Obviously we have Suffolk reinforcements on the way. They've seen that their men are sort of pushing forward, and that bloody cannon has got my men in its sights. So we'll go to Neville turn 4. Okay, so Neville turn 4. didn't really go to plan. So the only thing that actually happened in the affirmative that I wanted to happen was John Constable's unit here has charged the unit that saw off the light cavalry, but it took 2 casualties on the way in. So I'm actually a bit of a disadvantage, but I wasn't disordered, which is great. Over here, I decided to hold my ground to try and just give fire, because over here, I didn't manage to get my units moving at all. I got the unit that blundered the first time moved on to the board over there. However, these units didn't do anything. So up here, the hardened veteran John Conyers is actually weighing up his options a little bit. Now, this could be really bad because over there we've got the horseman. Who, if he rallies next turn, so he has to move before he rallies. So he'd have to rally next turn, then he'd be moving off in the last turn. If my men don't do anything, then it could be he's got to run a gauntlet of arrows. Anyway, moving over to the Neville shooting, it's just this unit here to shoot, and he's going to fire, I believe, at these guys. He's over 12 inches away, so it's going to be 3 dice, and they're going to be hitting on 4s. Sorry, hitting on 5s. Yeah, I'll take that. That's so 3 saves of 5. It's 1 saved and a break test. 7 from ranged. I imagine you're holding your ground.
Yeah, hold ground.
Hold ground, but 2 casualties. 2 casualties. It's only really going to matter in this scenario if Robin's troops break, because he's not got an unlimited supply of stuff in that castle. So if units end up shaken or anything like that, then they will still be available next turn. They just creep back inside the castle. However, if a unit breaks, it might not be available to him. That is the end of my shooting. That is all I had. So down here, we've got the combat. I charged. I have 6 dice. I decided not to pop the Bastard of Falkenberg in the unit. I don't want to lose another commander this early in the siege. So I get 6 dice and I'm hitting on 3s. Robin has 6 dice hitting back on 4s, but he is going to get the bonus to his save because he's now defending the wall. So 6 dice hitting on 3s for me. No rerolls. Oh, that's all of them. 6 hits. And you're looking for 4s. 3 hits.
2 hits.
3. Was it 2?
4,
Oh, 2.
Yeah, 2 hits.
2 hits. Okay. I need 2 saves of 5. Both saved. Oh, you need 6 saves of 3 for the defended position.
Okay, 3.
So 3. Okay, so you lost the combat by 3. So you're 2d6 minus 3 to your break test.
That's not good.
Oh, that's I think
good.
that's a. Are they break? Is it break or break if shaken?
What does it put me on?
It puts you on 3.
Yeah, break if shaken.
Well,
retreat
you're not
disordered.
You're retreating disordered. You're not shaken yet. You because you have a stamina of 6. You took 3. You've already taken 2. You've got 5 casualties. So what was it? Retreat disordered.
Yes.
So you go back 6 inches disordered, but you're not shaken. You're just 1 away from that. Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, so Robin's got to back off there, and then he's gonna have to deal with getting rid of this unit. And that is it. That is the end of the Neville turn. We are flying through this. So we will go into Suffolk turn 5. Okay, so where are we, Robin? What happened?
Right, so they're disordered anyway, so they couldn't do much. My small unit, there's no point advancing them against, even in the flank, because they're so ineffective in combat. So they're just going to stand there and
Just try and put some fire into
fire
them.
at you, and maybe threaten.
Falkenberg's,
Falkenberg a
yeah,
little
he's
bit.
hanging back a little bit, yeah.
Over here, Berners moved up to form a line
Yeah, and give
with
fire.
them. I didn't do anything with them, did I?
No, these guys just sort of stayed there. Do you want to roll to see what it is? You didn't fail any
Yeah, I
orders.
didn't fail. No, I did. I used my reroll. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah, so if you haven't failed. So what are they going to do? Just come forward?
Just going to move forward.
We're
to
not,
the wall.
yeah, sorry, in the spirit of everything. 8, so they went 1 move forwards.
It's because I got distracted because I was forming a line next to them. I forgot they hadn't
There we go.
There we go. So they move forwards. Yeah, they formed lines, and then most importantly,
Yeah, now
the cannon reloaded.
Cannon reloaded, the important thing, yeah,
No,
up on the castle.
Messengers, one of them's made a break for it.
Yeah, he did it crazily. He got 3 moves off, he went into the field and then careened off there towards the exit.
And then seeing that they'll be second in line for being shot, these guys are suddenly feeling brave again.
I know, and you got it because there's only one turn in the
left,
hand.
So it's going to be... How far can you move down here?
That's it. How far can I move, and will I get into there, and can I just finish you off? Because I will get some shots, some very long range shots, and can I see you off? But you're effectively going to get 2 chances at it. But there we go. So we are now into the Suffolk shooting. So where would you like to start?
Let's start with the cannon.
Okay.
So we're going.
Yep.
Yeah, that unit on there.
All right. So they're not a clear target, and it's over half. So it's going to be a 6. Nope, but a reload token on there.
It's more just for effect.
It is. We also it's lovely having a cannon in a castle. It's just nice having a castle on the board.
Then shooting.
Okay,
they're within 12.
Within 12, so you don't suffer for that. You just suffer -1 as they're not a clear target. So you're rolling 3d6 and you're hitting on 5s. Reroll 1.
6.
Yeah, you only needed 5s to hit, so I do need to take a break test. So 1 save of 4 because of the cover. No, so it's 1 casualty and a break test. Oh, that was bad. What's 4?
4. No, you retreat disordered.
Oh, that could be crucial. Okay, so
yeah.
disorderly retreat. Okay, 6 inches back up the hill.
Yeah, I think being disordered is the important thing. Actual retreat doesn't matter so much.
They can't move next turn. Okay, so they've gone back disordered. The thing is, what are these going to do now? Have they got anything in range?
No, that's a unit of just.
They're just men at arms. Okay.
So then it's just my small unit of.
Remember, these guys can still shoot. It's just they're disordered.
Yeah. So my small unit of bowmen first.
Yeah, we've already measured. We know they're in short range, so it's 2 dice, and you're hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1. Oh no, sorry, it's 4s. Yeah, but you hit anyway. So 2 saves of 4 because of the wall. 2 saves. And now you've got the disordered units. They're -1 for being disordered, which means you're hitting on 5s and you're firing in cover. So you're hitting on 6s. So it's 2 6s if we need to disorder. No, reroll 1. No, you got the marksman. No. Okay. Alrighty. So there's no combat, is there?
No,
that's it. So this unit is no longer disordered. So we can just shuffle them back into a nice formation. And that's it. We go into Neville turn 5. I've really got to get this lot here moving. I do get the rest of my men coming in. However, they're Falkenberg's men, so they're going to be coming on down here. So if I'm going to rush that way, I need to get stuff moving. So, all right then. We'll go into the Neville turn. Okay, so it's a mixed bag. So over here, the Bastard of Falkenberg has brought on basically his other 3 units. Wave 3 arrived. The bulk of the Neville army is now turned up, and if you're up in the castle up here, over in the background there, they can slowly see the lines of troops that are sort of appearing on the hill. So they're just keen to get their messengers away, and that's the problem, because up on this side, John Conyers failed his command roll, which meant none of these units moved. They are just out of range of shooting that unit. So Robin next turn is going to come down to can he get those units off the board. It's all going to come down to turn 6, which is awesome, but also really annoying. So John Conyers, the veteran, he's obviously looking up there, and as Robin just pointed out, it's almost like the cannon. If you're sort of in an in-game spirit, everyone's worked out roughly what the range of the cannon is, and even though it's not that effective, things that go bang do scare people, and they're just staying on the ridge and waiting until they can bring a bigger gun to the game. Down here, I tried to charge this unit and it failed. I ended up just hopping over the wall, and that is it. So I've got no hand-to-hand combat, and it's going to be just a load of shooting. So first of all, this unit's going to fire at this unit. They get 3 dice. They're going to be hitting on 3s because of the short range, re-rolling 1. So re-rolling 1. Oh, force a break test. So 3 hits. It's 3 saves of 5.
Oh, I'm not shaken.
So 2 dead. You are now shaken. In fact, you're 1 over your shaken.
-1.
So you're taking a break test -1.
Okay,
8. I think you're fine.
Yeah.
You're absolutely fine. They are just now shaken. Can you? Let's see. I don't think there's anyone else here is in range from. Could you just? Oh, no, see, I shouldn't have put. I shouldn't have put that unit so far over there. So no, they're fine. So over here, can you just see if this unit is in range of Fitzwalter?
Yeah.
Oh, is he in range of your?
Yeah, he's in
oh,
range
of course.
of
Oh, brilliant. Well, shoot the
and
messengers.
so is that unit.
And so is William Parr.
They're not.
They're not, I imagine. But they've got. All right, so we'll shoot them. So the disordered unit is firing at the messengers as they sort of race off towards the exit. It's -1 because I'm disordered, and -1 because you're not a clear target. So I'm looking for 6s. We get to re-roll 1.
2 6s for a break test.
Oh, there we go. So 1 hit, so 1 save of 6. Oh.
Oh,
No, so
that puts me back on shaken.
that puts you back on shaken, and I think you have to take a break test if you're shaken by range, don't you?
Yes.
Yep, so it's just 2d6. Yeah, you're fine. And the other unit.
No, it's retreat in good order.
Hang on, I don't think I did. No, you don't. So what was the result? Retreat.
In good order.
So they're just going to go back. So it's still going to.
It's still doable.
It's still doable.
It just means that.
It's harder.
Yeah.
Okay, and that, I don't think I have any other shootings. It's been a very different game to what we played, but this is all the establishing of the siege lines. So,
oh no, because they moved back.
they moved back, yep. So you've moved out of my range. So that is the end of Neville turn 5. We now go into the final Suffolk turn. So let's see what Robin's going to do. Well, that's unbelievable. Robin's not allowed. We're not allowed around here to play games anymore. So we're not going to talk about any of this. Basically, he's done it. He's bloody done it. But he's done it in the most arse-about-face way. So the messenger, who wasn't shaken, Robin needed 3 orders. 3 orders to get him off the board. He needed to get into the field, to the other side, and then get in touch with that edge. And he rolled and he failed his order. He rolled a double 6, which is a blunder. The blunder means you then roll on the blunder table, so he did. He rolled a 6, which is whatever it's called, unrelenting advance. Basically, he has to execute 3 orders straight forward. There it is. There's the 6. He's done it. So even though he blundered, the horses have just gone nuts. They've charged off with their riders. The horses have made the decision, and he's got them off. So because they're in touch there, they are basically going to be probably leaving the board. Well, they have left the board. They did get off the board. So now it's just a case of trying to put some wounds onto Suffolk's men so that he loses troops in the next scenario. So in terms of the scenario, Robin has succeeded in getting his men off, but we've got to play through the last turn to see how it's going to affect the rest of the siege. But this does mean that the next game we're going to be playing is the sortie. It's not going to be a rapid assault because the messengers have escaped. So Robin, and some other stuff happened.
Yeah.
So
Cannon reloaded.
Cannon reloaded. These men came forward. These men occupied here. Just some stuff. Just some stuff. Where would you like to start?
Let's start shooting here at your disordered unit.
Okay.
So within 12.
Within 12, you get 3 dice, and you are re-rolling 1 hitting on 4s. 3. 3 saves of 5. That's another casualty.
Oh, what's in there?
Is the cannon in range?
No, not anymore.
Okay.
In that case, then my small unit is shooting into
these guys?
Yeah.
They're within 6 inches, so it's 3. No more. That's it. 2 dice in 3s, re-rolling 1. 2 hits, 2 saves of 5. No, 2 casualties. I'm not shaken yet, so not quite enough. There we go. And then your shaken unit, because they can still shoot. Nice. So it's going to be -1, so you're going to be hitting on 4s because of the +1 for the range, and you get to re-roll 1. There we go. Oh, there we go. That's better. That's better. And that is it.
Yeah, that is it.
That is it. That is it. That is the end of the Suffolk turn. We might as well play out the Neville turn, because if I can break some of his units,
Yeah, because they're definitely under.
it's going to affect what he can do next turn. So we'll go into the last Neville turn. Okay, so again, didn't quite go to plan for the Nevilles. My unit down here charged into this unit, and then even though this unit is shaken, I took the closing fire, and I took one casualty, which is enough to shake me, meaning the charge failed. I passed my break test, but now they're just staring at each other with mounds of arrows and dead people in between them. Over here, I've moved all of these forces up onto the hill to try and give fire down on Fitzwalter. And then finally, John Conyers' men have suddenly realised, oh no, that horse escaped, and they just came marching down the hill. We've just left the guy on the road there just to annoy them. Basically, it's just going to be a whole load of shooting, and I'm going to try and break this unit here. So first of all, my Calais veterans are going to fire. I'm firing into a built-up area. I'm not within 6, I don't think, am I? So I'm going to be hitting on 5s. They're not marksmen, so I just got 1. So you win 1 save of 4 because they're built up here, so casualty, and you need to take a break test. 9, they're fine, so I'll pop another casualty in there. Next, I'm going to use the guys on top of the hill who can clearly see over the top of their friends, so they're going to be firing in. They're going to be, are they over half?
Yeah, they're over.
Alright, so they're going to be hitting on 6s. And you get to reroll 1. No hits. The other unit at the front, this unit here, they're going to fire in. They're within 12, those ones, so they're going to be hitting on 5s. 1 save of 4. Yep. Yep. Can we see if are they in range?
Yeah, they're within 12.
They're within. Yep. Okay. So.
And they'll be over.
They'll be over. So I'm looking for. They're within 12.
Yeah. So they are. Yeah, with 5s.
This is terrible. Hey, 1 hit. Oh, another casualty. And.
They're over 12.
Yeah, they're over 12 at the top of the hill. So, but they'll take their shot. So they are hitting on 6s. Reroll 1. that about sums it up. That is it. That is the end of the game. So there's no need to work out victory points because we know that Robin succeeded in his mission. The Neville forces now pull back to set up their siege lines as the Suffolk forces scurry back into Wingfield Castle. The Duke of Suffolk, wherever he is, there he is. Down there in the gateway. He's very pleased with himself and his tactical acumen for getting the horses to run across. But yeah, very different game. What do you reckon, Robin?
I think it shows how good a game you can have. So they didn't do anything. So I effectively had 4 units, 2 messengers and a cannon.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting game with 4 units on one side.
Yeah.
And realistically, you only had 5 units actually involved in the game. So like 4 and 5 units. And you can still have an interesting.
Well, that's part of the thing about running the siege. This book, the Siege and Conquest book from Warhammer Historicals, putting these little scenarios together to represent the larger siege it just makes it a lot more dynamic and a bit different. Because obviously we could just play one big scenario where I'm trying to lay siege to the castle and it goes on for 12 turns. That would be fun, but quite impractical. And also now we actually get to mark the passage of time. Yeah. Your messengers are off. It's not going to be, it's going to take them a while to get to where they're going, Colchester, London, and if they do get any help, then it's going to take a while to get here. In the meantime, the Neville forces will still be laying siege to the castle, and we play the next mission. But yeah, are you pleased with how it went?
Oh, what a game! That's a nice change.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Game 4.
They win a game. It's taken this far. It's not to the point where I can't lose any more. because I've run out of space to run off to. So
I do. I still like the plucky cannon up here. That's still going to be trying. Although I think that's now where it's going to be permanently. Pretty much.
They're not getting that back down the stairs.
That's it. This is called Smoke Tower up there. But guys, anyway, thank you very much for watching this. As ever, if you want to download the sort of modifications to Hail Siege that we're using, then they are in the description below. I've done the video just before this one that explains sort of the bit of sort of not really review, but I've talked about the Siege and Conquest book and sort of how we're going to be sort of running things. Go and check that out. Of course, if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments down below. Bit of a different game, not sort of a mass combat game, but hopefully the start of a nice little effectively mini campaign within our linked battles as we find out what's going to happen next. So the next mission is going to be the sortie. So after the Neville sort of siege lines are prepared, the Duke of Suffolk, in order to buy time, he's probably going to attack them, and there's going to be multiple objectives across the board, such as supply wagons and cannons and positions, and the more of them he can destroy, the more sort of chaos he causes to the Neville forces, which will potentially, I imagine, mean they're less prepared if the relief force that these messengers have gone to get for is going to come back. But at this rate, it looks like we're definitely going to be having 3 games at this rate, because I can't just nip in there, even though he's now brazenly opening that door. Willing me to go. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. We will see you all again soon in the next one, when hopefully Wingfield Castle will fall to the Nevilles.